Thank you, Ms. Sally. And now we'll have Ms. Jean Hall from Hoggard High School who'll talk about the International Baccalaureate Program.
Thank you, Ms. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. We too are going through the college application process with our daughter right now, so I can fully identify with what Mr. O'Brien was telling you. So the International Baccalaureate Program is an internationally recognized diploma program, which means that the students who fulfill the requirements of the program will receive their North Carolina diploma, but in addition, an international diploma that is recognized really in just about every country, because as you can see on the map, it would be tough to find a spot in the world where there isn't an IB program. And what we offer at Hoggard is the diploma program. IB is the organization, the International Baccalaureate, and then under its umbrella, it has a primary years program, a middle years program, and then a high school level, what we call the diploma program, or the DP. So if you've heard me speak before at Hoggard or elsewhere, I usually refer to it as the DP, but what I mean by that is IB. So let's see. You can see that right now in the U.S., the U.S. represents, well, let me say the Americas, IB Americas. There are over 1,300. I would say actually by now, closer to 1,500 DP programs in existence. Am I doing the right way? There we go. So Hoggard's DP in structure is just like any other DP. What differs from school to school is the coursework that we offer. So I do caution parents and students when they're looking around online and they Google IB DP programs, you're going to find all sorts of things because each school has the right to choose which DP coursework it needs for its students to fulfill their local requirements for graduation. And then on top of that, we tailor it in such a way that it meets certain criteria for graduation such as senior project, service hours, et cetera, et cetera. So the structure of the program is that students will choose across the 2 years of 11th and 12th grades 6 diploma courses, IB diploma courses. 6, at least 3 of them, and a maximum of 4 can be taken at what's called high level, and those last 2 years of the program, part 1 junior year, part 2 senior year, and then the other 3, or 2, if they've chosen 4 high levels, would be taken at what's called standard level, and those courses can run 1 year of the program. Every section of an IB course, whether it's part 1 or part 2 of a high level or a 1-year standard level, is weighted the same as AP. In addition to the coursework that students are taking, they're also completing the core requirements. And IB really considers the core of the program to be the most important part of the program because of course they're doing the academic coursework no matter where they are in some capacity. So the core components, there are 3, and these are done over the 2 years of the program. There is the extended essay, which is a roughly 4,000-word independent research project paper. There is the CAS service project, and then the theory of knowledge, the TOK course. So TOK is actually a course, but the other 2 components are done on the student's own time with guidance and supervision by me or another supervisor or coordinator at Hoggard. So how should a student be preparing for the DP? We do prefer that students come for what we have called the pre-DP, which is in 9th and 10th grades. We look at who the student is in 8th grade, and hopefully if they're hoping to come for 9th and spend their 4 years at Hoggard pursuing the DP, there's an application process for that. It's a pretty brief application process. There is a timeline involved, and it's a little more sensitive of a timeline if the student is coming through open choice, if they're not districted for Hoggard. In terms of leaving the program, I'm glad Ms. Sally brought that up because when a student is open choice in the program, we really do, if they have said that they're coming for that, we really do expect that they're going to stay for that and really do their best and challenge themselves. The DP is a highly rigorous program. The workload is very heavy, and even for students who are already very intrinsically motivated and goal-driven, the workload tends to get it to them at times, and we have students here tonight who can talk with you about that if you have questions. And so the pre-DP is really great because we get to keep an eye on students as they're going through, and when we see moments of struggle, we can pull them aside and really find out what's happening. So it is really to the students' benefit if they can be at Hoggard for 9th and 10th grades as well. For a student in 8th grade who's wanting to apply, open choice, or if they're already districted for Hoggard, if they're wanting to apply for the pre-DP, they need to make sure that they've attended a Phase 1 informational session. Our last one of this year will be March 7th at Hoggard in our Media Center, 7 p.m. It's on our website as well. Contact me if you have specific questions. Submit the pre-DP application. Part of that will involve a teacher recommendation, partly a parent questionnaire, and then a grades report submission. And then also there's I'll say, suggested required, highly encouraged pre-DP student orientation over the summer. Students coming into 9th grade don't have summer work, but from that point on they will. So sometimes that is a turnoff for a student, and so we try to be very transparent about that up front. Otherwise, if a student is moving beyond into 9th from, let me see, I can't really see the thing here. In 9th grade, they should strongly consider the long-term course selection in the DP, and I meet with them along the way and help them make sure that they're on the right track to meet the requirements of the courses once in the program. Take pre-DP Honors Civics and Honors English 1, so we group the students for those 2 courses. Keep a lookout for other pre-DP activities on campus, at Smart Lunch, etc. We have Smart Lunch at Hoggard. And make sure that the students are aware of the intent to continue deadline for 10th. So there are milestones along the way between those grade levels where students need to inform me in a formal way that they plan to continue. And then of course in 10th grade, the students are getting more involved with higher level coursework and then the actual application into the program. So that's all I have there. I'll be out front. We do highly encourage travel, and specifically international travel in the program. And if you would like more information about that, I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.